So this is from MLB.com. Tiger trade intel. An MLB-ready bat. And then it goes on to say, even after drafting 6 position players in June, the Tigers are still looking for offensive depth in their farm system to go with their stockpile of pitching. If GM Al Avila can add a hitter who is close to MLB ready, the club will find a spot for him. Regulars C.J. Cron, Jonathan Scope, and Austin Romine are all on 1-year deals. Now, would C.J. Cron, Jonathan Scope, or Austin Romine get a MLB-ready bat in return? Seems rather unlikely to me, but I guess it kind of depends on what kind of seasons they're having as we approach the trade deadline, which is coming up in like 3 weeks. God, everything's happening like that. I mean, the season just started. We're already talking about the trade deadline coming up. Cron came out on fire and hit a couple of bombs and was only hitting 172 right now. But look, I mean, these guys are going to have to get hot. The question that I would have if I'm a major league team is, how important is winning the World Series this year? Because when we get to the end of August, if we make it to the end of August and they're still playing baseball, is it a safe presumption that they're going to be playing baseball at the end of September? Is it a safe presumption that they'll be able to hold an entire postseason? Because you know what I wouldn't want to do? Trade a future asset for a veteran, 1-year contract, guy that can help you win, and then there is no postseason. Like that would be great. I just went and got this asset, and I can't even use him for the reason I got him. So, that's what all the buyers have to be thinking about. I mean, do you give up a future asset that can help you for years to try and win a World Series that follows, win a playoff, win a World Series, win in the playoffs and win a World Series that follows a 60-game season? Like, even if the Tigers make the playoffs and hey, even win a round, right? Crazy things can happen in short baseball series. What does it really mean? Does it mean they're here? No. It means there was a short season. They got hot at the right time. They took advantage of an expanded playoff. But it doesn't mean the organization arrived. If they had a full season, made the old playoffs, that would feel like a sign that your team and your organization has arrived. This year, it'll feel like the Tigers are the team that took advantage of the incredibly unique circumstances. So if you're another team, are you going all in to win this World Series on a shortened season where it might not feel or be the same, 248-539-9797. Now, what veterans might teams be interested in? Well, the 1-year deal guys, certainly Scope, Cron, Austin Romine. Is there anybody else that a team might call the Tigers about? Cameron Maybin, maybe? Think a team will call the Tigers about Cameron Maybin, who's dealing with an injury right now? Are there any young players that the Tigers might pull the plug on and just say enough that another team would take a flyer on? The two names that have been fighting it out at third base for, it feels like, the last couple of years that we've heard about, Jeimer Candelario and Dawel Lugo. Now, if I were another team, would I put a great resource into Candelario or Lugo to try and get one of those two? Probably not. But you never know if a scout or somebody sees something and says, that's the guy we want to go get. Maybe, just maybe, somebody would want a Tiger arm for their bullpen. Would anybody want to go get a Gregory Soto? I mean, it seems like bullpen arms are always coming at a premium. Soto's probably a little bit young for the Tigers to move him. He's 25 years old. But is there an arm out of the bullpen that a team says, yeah, we could use Buck Farmer? I don't think anybody would be worried about them giving up on Buck Farmer. you're not going to get somebody's top prospect back, okay? Don't get me wrong. And you're probably not going to get what the story indicates that the Tigers would be looking for, is that they're close to MLB bat. But maybe if Buck Farmer's in a package with C.J. Cron, you could get something. So anyway, just some things to think about as we are going to be having these discussions more seriously in the next 3 weeks. Tigers back in action tonight. Matt Boyd on the hill against Chad Kuhl. Still no news on Casey Mize, which is the number one guy that people want to hear about and find out if he is playing. There was a story in the Detroit News today that there's the inter-squad games that they're having down there. He's going about 5 innings and that he looks pretty good. And, he seems to be doing just fine. So the time we will probably see him and see him a lot is still next year. And if they don't debut him this year, then they're probably going to sit him for the first part of the season next year to add even another year onto his timeline in Detroit as far as starting his service time. But I wouldn't mind seeing him sooner rather than later. I think you got to debut these guys almost in waves so they don't all become free agents at the same time. Guys like Manning and Skubal and maybe even Faedo will probably be debuting next year, so probably makes sense to debut Mize now so that they're not dealing with all of them hitting free agency at the same time, which could be a huge hit to the pocketbook. So